Ooh, hi. Welcome to Tough Crowd. Good news from Iraq. Good news, finally, from Iraq. I just saved money on my car insurance. Let me tell you something. Iraq is where civilization began, by the way. Unfortunately, it appears to have stayed that way. Now, this is World War III, folks. This is it. You can tell your grandkids that you lived during Armageddon. Oh, you don't believe this is the battle of good and evil? See the movies this weekend. Number 1, The Passion. See what number 2 was? Hellboy. How does Scooby-Doo 2 figure into the equation? I'm not sure yet, but I'll get to it. Everything from Iraq to the 9/11 Commission says one thing to me. Our country has all the power, but we won't use it. The FBI is in trouble for not being intrusive enough. You know, because, you know, the FBI must have been goofing off, but not because they do, just like any other office, only they're getting so much cooler downloads to send to each other. You know, people getting killed, famous people having sex from the 60s, cool secrets. You know, it's hard to get into it when you got that kind of stuff going around. And we're getting pushed around just like in Vietnam. That's the only thing that's like Vietnam. We're getting pushed around by an army. It'd take us 10 days to wipe out. We need to start threatening people. The minute they kidnapped any civilians, we should have a president that would go on video to the Ayatollah, Shiite, Sunnis, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and Hamas and go, oh, you kidnapped our guys? What's that smell? Oh, that smells like 60 cents a gallon for super unleaded. Listen to television. Well, with less than 12 weeks to go before the U.S. hands over control of Iraq, the worst fighting since the invasion began continues throughout the country. 70 U.S. soldiers have died since April 1st. What do you think?
Well, I think there's only one real reasonable solution. And if I was John Kerry, that would be my platform. I would say, if elected, I will put Saddam Hussein back in charge of Iraq.
You know, I think we have to redeclare war because the peace ain't working out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Less people died during the war than have died during the peace. So if we redeclare war, everything will be better.
I think we should send our troops to Afghanistan and finish the job there before we go to Iraq and invade. I mean, I would be pissed off if I lived in Iraq and all of a sudden these people are like, you have to live like us. We know better than you do. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why didn't we finish off Afghanistan before we went to Iraq? And what's this June 30th thing? And now we're begging the United Nations to help us?
And they're kidnapping each other. Did you hear about this? They kidnapped some Arabs too. And they're getting crazy. So
they kidnap a lot.
They don't care whether it's like the new thing to do now over there. It's like, son, I'm going to kidnap you.
Yeah.
But they can't.
You would get kidnapped.
They can't tell.
We get kidnapped.
Yeah,
But you can't stop them. I mean, that's the real problem. Where it's a dilemma because we can't stay, we can't pull out because it'll be civil war. You have the Shia Muslims who are now being supported by Iran and the Hezbollah guerrillas in Lebanon, and then you have the Sunni Muslims, the Sunnis who worship Woody Allen's wife. And they're not playing games over there.
They don't like each other. How are they going to they don't want us.
But there are vast differences between the religions, though. Like, it's hard for us to understand, that kind of hatred. But it's like, there's big differences between, like, the Sunnis and the Shia. It's kind of like if you look at the way Lutherans and Catholics feel here in America, it's that kind of rage, you know what I mean? That would lead to, like, murder and mayhem.
But Greg, you are not into pulling out. I mean, your wife's having her third child.
That's true.
That's true.
But wait, let's hear from...
Well, you always grab...
Where'd you go?
Well, the democracy seems to be working a little bit. I mean, they've been killing each other, kidnapping. I mean, tax evasion maybe next.
What's
next?
Tax evasion. The big problem is this is coming right from God. You can't argue with people who are talking to God. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to appeal that. Why are you doing that? Because God told me, I'm done. I got nowhere to go.
Well, the rage that they feel, like even though we supposedly trained and armed this Iraqi defense group or whatever, and they wouldn't even fight against the people in Fallujah. They wouldn't fight alongside the Americans. So they're not even patrolling their own people. So crime is running rampant, even like petty vandalism, like camel tipping. It's crazy.
Wait, let's talk to somebody from Iran. Go ahead.
I'm originally from Iran. Yeah, or like we like to say Persian sometimes.
And you guys want something now? Seems like you're moving over there.
Right.
Well, you want something?
Want a piece? We want in. We want in. Well, we never liked Iraq in the first place, but now they mean the whole. First of all, I mean, I understand why these people wouldn't want to protect themselves. We never even pronounced the country right. I mean, we called it Iraq. It's not Iraq. It's Iraq.
Oh.
Iraq.
But Iraq sounds like
that's what it is. So how do you attack a country you don't know how to pronounce?
That's not the point. Everybody's sitting there doing Monday morning quarterbacking on the damn place. Here's what I say, because I've talked to a few people from Iraq, And everyone who says this,
You were there.
and I was there, but every one of them said the same damn thing, which is that, they'd rather have a democratic thing, but of course they're not going to go against people in Fallujah because they had the power. You know, it's like when the troops leave at night, then it's this guy going, hey, that was pretty good. You know what I mean? So until until we put the right people in charge and really, but that's going to take killing. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's going to take killing a lot of terrorists, a lot. Killing. That's how you do it. And if you don't want to do it, fine. But that's the only answer.
But
it's not about
terrorists right now. The guys that are fighting right now aren't terrorists. They're local Iraqis.
Local locals.
Here's the first thing. The first thing you have to do is get them uniforms. So we know who we're fighting.
Right.
They're all running around looking the
everybody's
same.
in a different crew.
Yeah, that's right. So now you got an army. We can deal with that. We can't deal with people. We got to deal with an army.
And they're picking on the Japanese now. Poor Japanese. They're nice and
They
cuddly.
don't even have an army, and they're getting screwed.
They said, withdraw your troops. They go, we don't have any there. They're like, get them out.
Right, like Poland's got like 6 guys wandering around.
Yeah.
They don't, you know what I mean? And 3 of them been kidnapped. And you go like,
one who's in Lithuania, they think they're in Iraq. I know.
The Azerbaijanis now, they say they're going to pull out. They have 125 people there, and we're paying for it.
There goes the war.
We're financing their guys.
How are we going to do without them?
Yeah, once the Azerbaijanis go.
This is let's face it, this is World War III coming on.
I tell you, I'm taking a stand. I am giving up my timeshare in Fallujah. I have had it.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, but I was booked there. For
Real estate, it's always a mistake.
I'll wait till the end of the summer.
It always goes up. It
always goes up, no matter what.
All right.
Now, what do you think about this? In Honduras, the street gangs are defying the government they just decapitated their 10th person of the year on a park bench. Well, what do you think? They all have notes that are saying we hate the president.
Well, they left a severed skull on a park bench with a little note that says "ha ha" on it. So you gotta love any gang that could combine like a horrific murder with a practical joke.
Right. Yeah. Was that on April Fool's Day?
Also, you're assuming this was not the last request of the guy who once belonged to the head. You know what I mean? You can do what you want with your head after you're dead.
But at what point, take something like Honduras, perfect example. If they're decapitating heads, if we hypothetically wanted to go in there and like make them democratic like you were mocking before and saying be like us, it would probably be better for the average person than having to worry about a street gang cutting your head off, no?
Okay, but it's fine to go in and say, look, I want to improve your life. But why do we have to do it alone? Why couldn't we?
Because France and Russia and the UN are too busy robbing oil and starving Iraqi people.
We said, screw the UN. He said, screw the UN. And now he's asking them for
the UN said, screw us when they were doing all those side deals the past 5 years, apparently.
Excuse me? Who was doing side? Rumsfeld was doing side deals.
UN, France, and Russia were doing side deals, getting a little oil for the Oil for Food program, starving Iraqi people so they get better deals on oil with Saddam. That's what's been happening. Of course, God forbid.
Who gave Saddam, who was friends with Saddam?
Oh, okay, let's go back to that.
We hooked them up against Iran. They killed a lot of Iranians.
It
was okay to kill the Iranians. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Well, here's what's up with that.
Get over here, baby.
It was okay.
Girl.
They got the hostages.
Jews and Muslims together.
I'm sorry.
Look at that.
Jew and Muslim.
Yeah, that's really going to work.
Guy gets awfully uppity. They get one nuclear bomb and all of a sudden they're telling people what to do.
It's a high rise. It's not a nuclear facility.
I said, we'll be right back. Cut the camera. After an anal sex discussion on Howard Stern, the FCC fined Clear Channel $500,000 when they then yanked Stern from their stations. Now they're threatening to fine Stern's Infinity Broadcasting, the main syndicator. So Stern said this. He said it's not a surprise. It's a McCarthy witch hunt. They, the FCC, are expressing and opposing their opinions to tell us who and what we may listen to. I may be taking off all the stations very soon. My last words to you are GWB. Which I figured out my staff. I think it means George W. Bush.
Oh my God, you're so smart.
Maybe.
I could be wrong. So what do you guys think?
I think he is the scapegoat. I think it is horrible. I think that he's funny. I'm a leslie and a feminist, and I think he's hilarious. And I just can't believe that these corporations who donate to GWB are taking him, one of the funniest guys and a great entertainer, off the air. It's ridiculous. Clear Channel donates to idiot.
And we're supposed to be the country of freedom, and the terrorists hate us for our freedom. Well, there's no more freedoms. They're going to be like, there's nothing else to hate them for. This is horrible.
I know.
No Howard Stern.
Plus, don't forget that, one-legged midget porn stars need a forum.
Exactly.
Very true.
He has
You know
given
what I mean?
a
He's
lot of
helping
people a break.
He's
I
literally
agree.
helping the little people.
But let's forget.
But it's arbitrary. That's what bugs me. I mean, yes, things maybe have slipped here and there, but it's like, there's nothing new. He's been doing this stuff for years. It's a great show. It's funny. And now all of a sudden they're cracking down. And the worst thing is that the people at Clear Channel saying the show's indecent and immoral, they were taking sort of swipes at him when he's been on their network for years.
Oh,
and
I know. It made them so much money. I mean, forget it. That they're giving to Bush.
But also the whole idea of those decency standards is, well, children may be listening. But, these morning shows, Stern's on from like 6 to 10. If you can't control your children from 6 to 10, to me, look, for me, I'm a Christian. So I feel it's my responsibility to control my kids. And if I catch them listening to Howard Stern, then you just beat them or burn them with cigarettes or you whip them with the cat o' nine tails. So they suffer like Jesus.
This makes me feel like George W. Bush is not a president for the people. He's the president for his special interests.
But he's not responsible for the Infinity Boy. You can't blame
the FCC. The FCC.
Oh, jeez, you can't blame him.
He doesn't know.
You can't blame Ashton.
Let me say one thing. You're right. He's omnipotent. He's omnipotent. Listen to me. I want to tell you one thing, though. Here's the argument. Of course, we all know Howard Stern is like, of course, they go after the one guy that really is funny and original and thinks out loud and is honest. But wait. Yeah. All the people that copy him. So if they're on a show and if somebody's on a show and they're saying like, this girl's, C word, N word, kill this one, kill Jew, kill our. You guys all think that's okay because that's part of the freedom that we fight for.
Well, no,
answer me.
But it's that guy Bubba.
No, you got it.
If you got a shortwave radio, what's going on now?
They don't say C and
I'm just saying that Howard Stern is not the problem. Obviously, they're so dumb they go wrong.
You got to draw a certain line. You got to draw a certain line, but not this. I mean, the fact is,
where do you draw the line? Or who draws it? Then?
Well, like you were saying, if it's like hate, if you're promoting,
how do you decide what hate is? They could say Howard Stern is hate. I mean, I don't agree with that.
Some of the stuff
is extreme. When he said this whole thing started when one of his guys called in and said, "You remember?"
Right.
Well, they could beep
That's
it.
how it started.
Well, did he? Because that's the problem.
That's the problem. Right.
Well, that is a bad thing.
He did.
Very funny.
So
You just said that is a bad thing. You guys don't think that should be.
No. All we have is freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's all we have.
That's
But that's a great statement. So you think if somebody goes in here, they can say whatever they want?
Yes.
Here's my thing.
Okay.
You can shoot people on TV, but you can't swear at them while you're shooting at them. What the hell? What's the point of
what is
shooting
that?
them?
What about,
some of the stuff. Look at the guy in Florida, that Bubba the Love Sponge guy.
Yeah.
He actually slaughtered a pig in the parking lot of their station, like a pig, a real pig, not a fat girl.
People go,
that's funny. Because that's more morning. When I heard it, that's morning radio stuff. Slaughter the pig and then kill the fat girl.
Pig, that's good.
So basically, what we're saying here is that anything on TV, cursing, nudity, violence, anything that anybody prohibits on any channel, that's against the civil rights of the people.
No. There are certain places for certain things.
Okay.
CBS has their family comedies, their sitcoms. It's a network show. Everyone gets it.
So they're not allowed to do the other things, but the people that can
There's
curse
a standard
No,
for those
whomever
things.
says that standard.
You could say things, but you shouldn't go on and tell, you shouldn't say, burn the Arabs.
How
you
do you
shouldn't say
decide?
that.
But who's to decide what's hate
speech?
speech?
That's not a safe thing to
I
do.
think
That's
there's
inciting
a lot
war.
You could say that about anything.
This
you also
country,
can't do
I go on and I say,
how many people say, they come back, they say, I visited this country. I am so happy to be an American because I can say whatever I want. I can write whatever I want.
So I'm saying you could say burn the Arabs then in this country.
Listen,
you
can't say that. That would be nice.
No, but there could be standards, but the standards can't be arbitrary and they can't come out of nowhere. So Stern's been doing this stuff forever, and they can't just all of a sudden they just increase the fines by 10 times.
Well, David Duke of the Klan's been doing his thing forever. Now they're going to arbitrarily say he can't say what he says.
Well, if he's been legally saying it on television, then yes, it would be arbitrary to all of a sudden increase the fines by 10 times.
But if it incites hatred, you shouldn't be able to say it.
How do you decide what incites hatred?
Because saying kill the Arabs is inciting hatred. That's not saying
to you.
Right.
But to other people,
how are you going to interpret that as not being?
But here's the thing. You could say to me all night long, kill the Arabs, and I'm not going to go do it unless I feel like it.
Right. I think you can.
Thanks for letting me know.
You can say kill the Arabs, but you can't say kill the Arabs. That's the thing.
By the way, Iranians aren't Arabs, so go ahead and say kill the Arabs. I don't care if I'm just kidding.
All right.
See,
I'm glad to say we got nowhere. We'll be right back. Anybody who's anybody knows that our national debt is a problem. But how do we do something about it when we can't even understand it? That's why we present another thrilling episode of Our Complex World coming up.
Will he be okay?
I'm not sure. Marlene, I've got some bad news. You might want to sit down.
What is it?
Mr. Kensington is running a deficit.
Oh my God! How much of a deficit?
Quite a lot. A little over $7 trillion.
Was that bad?
Well, there are conflicting reports on that. Some say it's not that big a deal, but most economists say that it could be disastrous.
How did this happen?
It's simple, really. Blaine Kensington was spending more money than he was taking in. Billions more. Maybe he never told you.
No, he never mentioned it. Where did he get all this extra money?
Well, he did the same thing the federal government does. By the authority of the Second Liberty Bond Act, he issues bonds and treasury bills that people buy now with the promise that he'll make good on them in a few years. Yes, and if he needs money, he simply issues more bonds.
So no one actually lends him money? He just does this to himself?
Well, in a sense, yes.
Why would he do this? Why would someone spend so much now, knowing that they're going to hurt themselves later?
Because it's fun, that's why.
Who are you?
The name's Blair Kensington. Martini?
You look just like Blaine.
Of course I do. Have you heard of an evil twin, silly?
So, you're the one spending all of Blaine's money.
Excellent diagnosis, doctor. Why not spend it if you got it? $1 million state dinners, Social Security, and a fabulous high-tech military. And the bill all goes to poor Blaine. The deficit thing is a real gravy train. Care to join me, Marlena?
I couldn't.
Why not? Spend now, pay later. And we're not even the ones paying.
Don't do it, Marlena. This is the one chance in your life to be fiscally responsible.
Fine. Stay here with your old fossil and this party pooper.
Show me the world, Blair. Let's forget tomorrow.
Of course, my dear. No! Oh! No!
My God, what have they done? What have they done?
Folks, gamblers everywhere are inspired by the British man who sold everything he owned, bet it all, and won. If you had to get rid of everything except for 3 things, what would you keep? Maz?
Well, this is an interesting question because when my family had to flee Iran around the 1979 revolution, we were faced with this same dilemma. We had very little time to gather 3 things and leave the country. So we ended up bringing a suitcase filled with cash, one of the American hostages as a gesture of goodwill, and because we're moving to California, we brought a Persian to Spanish dictionary.
Judy! Nice. Judy!
How do I, compete with that? It's
Judy, what are you asking me?
very funny.
Thank you.
Well, I would bring my cell phone and, of course, my vibrator. Oh, wait, I could just put my cell phone on vibrate. All right, so that leaves 2 more then. So I bring my electric toothbrush, the one that vibrates at the top, that little, yeah, I'm sorry. And finally, I'd bring my Bible, because when Miriam hooks up with Esau, it is so raw that even John Ashcroft gets all hot and moist. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I had to bring up the OT the day after Easter, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
Old Testament, OT. Okay, Tony V.
Well, bowing to political correctness, I would let my wife decide whether or not she wanted to be wagered. That being said, the 3 things I'd keep with me were my first edition copy of Chicken Soup for the Degenerate Gambler's Soul, my autographed picture of Pete Rose, bearing the inscription, "Don't believe them. Do you have $5? I got a hunch. Love, Pete." And my lifetime membership pass to the Liberace Museum, because honestly, Lee will never let you down, Colin.
Very fun words. Greg!
Well, I myself have gambled pretty recklessly, but not intentionally. It's just that I work in Vegas a lot and I'm a drunk. And to me, life is not about material possessions. It's about the high you get hawking your wedding ring in a Reno pawn shop. So if I did something like this, I wouldn't keep anything. I'd go big. I'd bet it all. I mean, as much as I love my children, betting them would be the ultimate adrenaline rush. And unlike Tony, I wouldn't give my wife the choice. I would keep her. I wouldn't bet her because we've been through a lot, and I've made enough bad jokes about her on the show. Let's be honest. And besides, I don't think I could get much for her.
That's the show tonight.
Good evening, sir.
Well, good evening to you, sir.
Tonight, you had a comic from Iran.
Yes.
On the show. Why are there not more Middle Eastern comedians?
I guess you'd have to ask him that. Well, it's the kind of place where, like, I don't know, on stage in America, if you're like, that one guy that annoys you at work in the Middle East, I'd be like, yeah, why would you not kill him? I don't understand. So it's hard to have people identify. Well, it was a good try considering that setup was kind of tough.